And we're live. Okay, it's fun. Fan Expo was bloody amazing. It paid for itself. So like if I spend $300 to get into a con, I make $300 at that con. And I spent
Mhm.
$1,700 getting into this con if you include the hotel room and the food and all, and I made
Mhm.
about $1,700. So
All
like
right.
yeah, yeah. And so when you think about it, Jason and I had a 4-day romantic weekend for the price of having to work really hard all 4 days. But like money wise, we're all set. And I sold 18 decks and I gave one to Adam Savage, and that was a really funny story. So I went over to his block of fans that were waiting to talk to him.
Mhm.
It was full. It was full the entire weekend. There was there there's a square with a line, and the line was full. And most celebrities at cons like that have a cost to speak to. You can't just wander up and be like, "Hi, I'm a fan." You have to buy something. And
Mhm.
usually it's at the cheapest, like a $50 photo, autograph, 70, $100 photo op, whatever. The
Yeah.
cheapest thing at Adam's table is a $10 temporary tattoo of his measuring tape that he has tattooed on his arm. I was
Aw.
like, I will buy the $10 thing and I will give him a present. And then I asked the yellow shirt there, I was like, I have a booth to run. Can you tell me when would be a good time to come back? Because I can't wait in line for hours. And she looked at the empty VIP space and she looked at the blind and she looked at me and she was like, you're VIP for the moment. Come on in. So I had like a 5-minute wait, and then I was talking to his assistant, Adam Savage's assistant, and I was like, I have a present to give him. I got buy the tattoo. Here's the money. I have a present, and she was like, "Ooh, Adam gets a lot of presents, and if he did take them all, it would really like he'd have to have an extra vat of luggage for every flight. Like he
Yeah.
so if he says no, thank you, please don't take that personally. And I'm like, oh, I won't. And she was like, he'll accept gifts if they're really really cool. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. It's gonna be fine. And she was like, well, what is it? And I told her, yeah, I painted every element of the periodic table as fantasy creatures, turned them into an oracle deck, and wrote a book to go with it that is both educational and mystical. And she went, now I want one. And the guy right in front of me was like, me too.
Yes.
He actually did come by the booth later and buy one. Um,
Awesome.
so yeah, I did the whole spiel to Adam Savage himself, and he said, and I did say, you don't have to take it if I know luggage is tight. And he was like, no, I'm taking that. Thank you. That sounds amazing. I look forward to it. So I've been daydreaming ever since about getting an email that's like, wow, this was amazing. Can I interview you about it? Or what are your next plans? Have you found a publisher? I've got friends. Something fun like, it's just been my favorite fantasy.
That is lovely.
It is. It was so lovely. Even if nothing happens, that was like, ah. Oh, and I did. He was like, oh no, I said I did send a deck to the tested office, but I never heard anything about it. And he was like, that's impossible. I go through all that mail myself. I would definitely would have remembered this. Um, and I've cleared out the backlog recently. And I was like, well, I sent it like over a year ago. And he and his assistant both in unison were like, Brian. And I didn't ask what the story was.
Cool. No further questions. Brian, enjoy your Oracle deck.
Right. Hey, Brian. Um, yeah. So, and it takes a lot to get over the training that is given us that everything is a competition. It's
Mhm.
almost like a psychological obstacle course to be at a con and have your booth neighbors thriving and selling and be like, No, that's a good thing, Brain. That's a good thing. When they like we rise together. There's no such thing as them or me.
Yeah.
Like, calm the fuck down, you stupid little brain. There's plenty for all of us here.
Yes. Yes. This is a giant event, and if my booth neighbors are busy, that's going to spill over onto me if I wasn't already. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I didn't know you could request the same booth neighbors again next year. So when I put in my application, I didn't request that. So hopefully my booth neighbors are cool again next year. I have no qualms about it either way because I've never not had cool booth neighbors.
I was gonna say I can't remember a time like that I've been to a con that you had a booth at that you didn't have cool neighbors. So I think people who
Right?
get booths at cons tend to be, on the whole, pretty cool.
Our kind of people.
Yeah.
All right. So.
All right. So for the benefit of whoever may watch this eventually or not, I'm working on finishing the edge of a belt here. And it's kind of dark in here. Let me turn on a light real quick.
Are you succeeding in you were going to hunt for a different place to live at some point, were you not?
Not at this exact moment.
Okay.
Yeah, not for a bit. For one thing, things are way too busy at work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Way too busy.
Yeah.
Where the heck were we?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah. Did he just sing the song of parting in praise of Luthien and the lights of heaven?
We were definitely past that. Because then Huan woke her up, and then they came to get him, and then they went through. We were past the part where she sang Melkor to sleep.
Oh.
And then they took like too many Silmarils or something. I forget exactly what that was all
it.
about.
Yeah.
By the way, if anyone is curious, while you're looking for the spot, if anyone is curious about how to finish the edges of leather, what you do is you get the edge a little bit damp, and then you take a little bit of saddle soap, and you just like rub a little saddle soap on it, and then you buff it for an amount of time that feels spiritually and mentally right to you. And then that kind of smooths out the fibers on the edge and makes them bind together so that they're not just flopping about. And
would you like a burnisher, my sweet?
Well, fun story, I have one.
But you don't like it?
Well, no, I like it fine. I mean, it's just like a $10 one I got at the leather store. This is the next step. After you smooth everything down with your hands, is then you use the burnisher and you like finish it up.
I ask because I'm sure Jason would enjoy the challenge of turning a burnisher for you out of like nicer wood.
I mean, I would love that. I would happily be into that.
Cool. I will pass that right along. All right. Yes. The knife Angrist snapped, and a shard of the blade flying smote the cheek of Morgoth. He groaned and stirred, and all the host of Angband moved in sleep. I remember that we were cursing Beren for being a greedy little fool, weren't we?
We were, and then they went outside, and then I don't know if we got past them escaping. I think we did.
Did Beren's hand get chewed off yet?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they ran away, and he only had one hand, and he was being a little bitch about it. I'm just assuming that last part. I don't remember.
Beren lay in a swoon within the perilous gate. Death drew nigh him, for there was venom in the fangs of the wolf. Luthien with her lips drew out the venom. That sounds new. Is it not new?
I I think we read that bit, but I think that's like the last bit we read. So we could start there because I don't remember
And she
anything
put
after that.
forth her failing power to staunch the hideous wound. But behind her, in the depths of Angband, the rumor grew of great wrath aroused. The hosts of Morgoth were awakened. Thus the quest of the Silmaril was like to have ended in ruin and despair. But in that hour, above the wall of the valley, 3 mighty birds appeared. The eagles are coming!
Deus Ex Eagle! Okay, I'm pretty sure I said that last time too.
Flying northward with wings swifter than the wind, among all birds and beasts the wandering and need of Beren had been noised, and Huan himself had bidden all things watch that they might bring him aid. High above the realm of Morgoth, Thorondor and his vassals soared, and seeing now the madness of the wolf and Beren's fall, they came swiftly down, even as the powers of Angband were released from the toils of sleep. Then they lifted up Luthien and Beren from the earth and bore them aloft into the clouds. Below them, suddenly, thunder rolled, lightnings leaped upward, and the mountains quaked. Fire and smoke belched forth from Thangorodrim, and flaming bolts were hurled far abroad, falling ruinous upon the lands. And the Noldor and Hithlum trembled. But Thorondor took his way far above the earth, seeking the high roads of heaven, where the sun day-long shines unveiled, and the moon walks amid the cloudless stars. Thus they passed swiftly over Dor New Fauglith, and over Tar Nafuin, and Fnifnifnifne, and
and flew,
and I don't know if I ever put this image together, but I wanted to take an image of the Swedish chef and make it like black and white and grainy, and put some, I don't know, some reference to Nine Inch Nails somewhere in the image, and then put, "What have I become, my Swedish friend?" And
like
over Tarnoff New Fuin, and came above the hidden valley of Tumladen. No cloud nor mist came there, and looking down, Luthien saw far below, as a white light starting from a green jewel, the radiance of Gondolin the fair, where Turgon dwelt. But she wept, for she thought that Beren would surely die. He spoke no word, nor opened his eyes, and knew thereafter nothing of his flight. And at the last the eagles set them down upon the borders of Doriath, and they were come to that same dell whence Beren had stolen in despair and left Luthien asleep. There the eagles laid her
lucky that he didn't succeed.
Right? Jeez. Yeah, he would be werewolf Chow.
Yeah,
Dumbass.
like he'd be dead at least twice over, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because also she was the one who put everyone to sleep. So
oh, yeah.
he would have gotten absolutely nowhere.
Nowhere at all. And it was her power that dressed them as the werewolf and the witch or banshee.
Oh yeah, so he wouldn't have even gotten close without her.
Nope.
Honestly, Beren. You fool.
You fool. And if she hadn't rescued him from Sauron's dungeons, he would have been werewolf Chow before he even made it back to this frickin' valley. Ah, Beren's pissing me off again. I need to... There the eagles laid her at Beren's side and returned to the peaks of Chrysaegrim and their high eyries. But Huan came to her, and together they tended Beren, even as before when she healed him of the wound that Curufin gave to him. But this wound was fell and poisonous. Long Beren lay, and his spirit wandered upon the dark borders of death, knowing ever an anguish that pursued him from dream to dream. Then suddenly, when her hope was almost spent, he woke again, and looked up, seeing leaves against the sky, and he heard beneath the leaves, singing soft and slow beside him, Luthien Tinuviel. And it was spring again. Thereafter, Beren was named Erchamion? Erchamion? What do you think?
Probably Erchamion, yeah.
Erchamion,
I just feel like
which is
because I feel like Erchamion just doesn't sound that exciting, you know?
Chammy,
Who's that? Oh, that's Erchamion, you know?
or instead of a guttural noise, maybe it's Erchamion.
Erchamion. Erchamion.
Come on, where's the glossary, you bastard? Oh, there is one. Of course there is.
I was going to say, you're surprised that there's a glossary in the Silmarillion?
Camion, Ellen, L-R, Ereg. Oh, damn it. But how do you pronounce it? This appendix doesn't tell us how to pronounce it. Well,
Rude.
if we ever have an audience, hang on. There should be Cam from Kamba. We'll just give it a K sound. Camion.
Sounds good.
Thereafter, Beren was named Erchamion, which is the one-handed, and suffering was graven in his face. But at last he was drawn back to life by the love of Luthien, and he arose, and together they walked in the woods once more. And they did not hasten from that place, for it seemed fair to them. Luthien indeed was willing to wander in the wild without returning, forgetting house and people and all the glory of the elf kingdoms, and for a time Beren was content. But he could not for long forget his oath to return to Menegroth, nor would he withhold Luthien from Thingol forever. I'm rolling my eyes.
We've talked about this before, but the subtitle of the Silmarillion really should be Oaths Not Even Once.
Also how full is, or how big is his head that he thinks he has the ordering of all this? Like, oh no, it is my fault that you're here. Like, bitch, I climbed down my hair to be here.
Right? If you think you could have stopped me, well, you did think you could stop me, and you failed, sir.
Twice. At least twice.
Twice. At least, yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Every time you tried, you failed.
God. No, we must go see your father. Why? Because I'm manly.
Okay, yes, the most convincing argument.
Uh-huh.
I made a promise to your father about what I would trade for your hand in marriage.
For he held by the law of men, deeming it perilous to set at naught the will of the father, save at the last need. And it seemed also to him unfit that one so royal and fair as Luthien should live always in the woods, as the rude hunters among men, without home or honor or the fair things which are the delight of the queens of the Eldalie. Like, yeah, I need my silver-backed hairbrush, honey. That's what I need in this world. Therefore,
that's what's important to me.
Yeah, I've made that very clear. Therefore, after a while, he persuaded her, and their footsteps forsook the houseless lands, and he passed into Doriath, leading Luthien home. So their doom willed it. Upon Doriath, evil days had fallen. Grief and silence had come. Yeah, that's what happens.
Telling you,
your wife told you,
not even
Jingle.
once.
Yeah. Also, this particular chapter could be called, "Can y'all just shut up and let the women be in charge because they're smarter than you?"
I mean, I feel like, yeah. I was going to say this whole story, and then I was like, that is this chapter. Yes. Yeah, this chapter is also subtitled, Just Shut Up.
Just shut up.
Let your wife figure it out.
Let's see. If just as a mental exercise, if Melian had been heated, if they'd turned to her and been like, I think you should make this decision. It seems like there's a lot of fate moving on this? Well, she would have been like, give your daughter your blessing because she's made up her mind. And they all would have lived in Doriath forever after, happily, without having to worry about the Silmarils or the curse or the oath that is laid upon them, and Beren would be able to tie his own shoelaces.
Indeed. Also, Fingon would be alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also all the other elves that went with him.
Oh, Finrod Felagund, and yeah, and his best man, but Huan would still be working for Carafin.
That's true. Well, nothing's perfect.
Right. And it didn't happen that way anyway.
It did not.
All right, grief and silence had come upon all its people when Luthien was lost. Long they had sought for her in vain. And it is told that in that time Daeron the minstrel of Thingol strayed from the land and was seen no more. He it was that made music for...
Sorry.
Yeah?
They had sought for her in vain, and my brain immediately went, not the artery, but the vein.
And he's the one who sold out Beren to Thingol too. So like he's the rat.
Yeah, Darren.
Fucking Darren. He it was that made music for the dance and song of Luthien before Beren came to Doriath. And he had loved her, and set all his thought of her and his music. He became the greatest of all the minstrels of the elves east of the sea, named even before Maglor, son of Feanor. But, seeking for Luthien in despair, he wandered upon strange paths, and passing over the mountains he came into the east of Middle-earth, where for many ages he made lament beside dark waters for Luthien, daughter of Thingol, most beautiful of all living things.
What an incel.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Yeah. Kind of cringe. Darren.
Honestly, Darren.
Come on,
Darren. Get it together, man.
And this song I call Her Hair is Dark and Pretty. Clang, clang, clang.
I'm just picturing, you know that song that Dad always makes fun of? It's like, is she really going out with him? That's what I picture him singing.
Oh no, I'm like, shoot. There's a song about like her perfect hair, her flawless skin and perfect hair, but she doesn't see me. Something like that. There's at least one song like that.
I feel like there's a few. Because I'm also thinking like, I wish that I had Baron's girl.
Thingol Spawn has got it going on.
She's all I want, and I've waited for so long.
There's a Moody Blues song, and I love her. And I love her. It's a good song, but yeah, if you picture Daeron singing it.
Basically, I feel like we have just decided that Daeron wrote like every song in history all about Luthien.
Yeah. All of the ones that are a boy singing about a girl are based on Darren's output by the dark shores of whatever this is.
He's kind of honestly lucky he didn't get picked up by Melkor and turned into an orc.
Right? Because he was ripe for it. All of that envy, all of that jealousy, all of the lust.
And just out there all by himself, being sad.
Right. Maybe he did. Maybe he was turned into an orc and he became Snaga, and his redemption arc is that he's the Snaga that...
Oh my god! The Snaga cinematic universe continues.
And that's why the Herald wrote such a great song in such a short amount of time, because he had all this practice.
Oh my god! Yes, okay.
In that time, Thingol turned to Melian. But now she withheld her counsel from him, saying that the doom that he had devised must work to its appointed end, and that he must wait now upon time. But Thingol learned that Luthien had journeyed far from Doriath. Yeah, it's like, you didn't listen to me when it mattered, and now you want me to fix it, and I'm not going to.
Honey, what should I do? I don't know. You seem to know what you wanted to do very well last time.
Right.
Why are you asking me now, buddy?
I got nothing for you.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. All right.
Figure it out.
Thingol learned that Luthien had journeyed far from Doriath, for messages came secretly from Caligorm, as has been told, saying that Felagund was dead and Beren was dead, but Luthien was in Nargothrond, and that Caligorm would wed her. Then Thingol was wrathful, and he sent forth spies, thinking to make war upon Nargothrond. And thus he learned that Luthien was again fled, and that Caligorm and Curufin were driven from Nargothrond. Then his counsel was in doubt, for he had not the strength to assail the 7 sons of Feanor. But he sent messages to Himring to summon their aid in seeking for Luthien, since Caligorm had not sent her to the house of her father, nor had he kept her safely. It's because nobody puts Luthien in the corner. But in the north,
had the time of my life. I never lost my hand before.
And Marin's gonna have to catch her like these for the list.
Yeah, one hand. I wonder if you can see on screen. You kind of can't see. Well, you can a little bit. So, like, here's the edge that I haven't done yet.
Yeah.
And it's fine, whatever. Here's the one that I have. Look how shiny.
Ooh, so shiny.
So shiny. Leather's very cool material.
But in the north of his realm, his messengers met with a peril sudden and unlooked for, the onslaught of Carcharoth, the wolf of Angband. In his madness he had run, ravening from the north, and passing at length over Taur Nufuin upon its eastern side, he came down from the sources of Escalduin like a destroying fire. Nothing hindered him, and the might of Melian upon the borders of the land stayed him not, for fate drove him, and the power of the Silmaril that he bore to his torment. Thus he burst.
Oh, that's right, because he swallowed it.
That's right.
I forgot about that.
Thus he burst into the inviolate woods of Doriath, and all fled away in fear. Alone of the messengers, Mablung, chief captain of the king, escaped, and he brought the dread tidings to Thingol. It's funny to know that of all the names that are like repeated, Mablung?
I was just thinking, wait, I've heard this name before.
Mablung and Damrod are rangers of Ithilien.
A likely story. Have we ever seen the two Mablungs in the same place at the same time?
Oh my gosh. No, because this one's dead.
Well, look, that's just a technicality in Middle-earth.
Or he faked his own death. I don't know. Maybe he fought a Balrog. Even in that dark hour, Beren and Luthien returned, hastening from the west, and the news of their coming went before them like a sound of music borne by the wind into dark houses where men sit sorrowful. They came at last to the gates of Menegroth, and a great host followed them. Then Beren led Luthien before the throne of Thingol, her father, and he looked in wonder upon Beren, whom he had thought dead. But he loved him not, because of the woes that he had brought upon Doriath.
He
But Baron,
didn't bring shit. That was all
thank
you.
you.
Come on,
That was
Thingol.
buddy. Come on, buddy.
I'm so mad at you for making me completely destroy my life. How dare you?
How dare you come into my world and inspire me to make terrible decisions? How dare?
How dare you make me racist by being a different race?
Speciesist. But Baron knelt before him and said, I return according to my word. I am come now to claim my own. And Thingol answered, What of your quest and of your vow? But Baron said, It is fulfilled. Even now a Silmaril is in my hand, which is the most badass shit he could have come up with. That's the only time I've been proud of Baron.
Yeah, I'll give him that one. That was pretty cool.
Fucking metal. Then Thingol said, Show it to me. And Baron put forth his left hand, slowly opening its fingers, but it was empty. Then he held up his right arm, and from that hour he named himself Camlost, the empty-handed. Then Thingol's mood was softened, and Baron sat before his throne upon the left, and Luthien upon the right, and they told all the tale of the quest, while all there listened and were filled with amazement. And it seemed to Thingol that this man was unlike all other mortal men, and among the great in Arda.
You finally noticed.
Finally.
I mean, I don't actually agree with that, but like, he should, like, yeah. Anyway.
You should have taken your daughter's word for it. Now you're seeing him through Luthien's perception.
Yeah. Or taking his word for it when he was like, yo, all your buddies think I'm great.
Yeah, well, I'm not them.
I'm
and I'm the son of great people. Well, that's not on your resume, is it? You're just the boy.
Well, I mean, again, it's like he's not completely wrong about that, but at the same time,
right?
He's completely wrong, so we're not going to give him that one.
Nope. And among the great in Arda, and the love of Luthien a thing new and strange, he perceived that their doom might not be withstood by any power of the world. Therefore, at the last, he yielded his will, and Baron took the hand of Luthien before the throne of her father. Like, I wonder if Baron had gotten the blessing to begin with and still had two hands and all, if Huan would have just changed his mind about Curufin anyway. Like, I can't work.
I mean, at some point he would have had to, because Huan is way too smart for Curufin, and Curufin is bound by the oaths of the Feanorians, which would have eventually led him to his doom one way or another.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, that's the thing. None of them are ever going to escape what they did to themselves. Regardless of if it had been then or later, they're, not to be Tolkien about it, but their doom would come upon them.
It's true. I don't remember, if remember isn't even the word, I haven't read enough of the Silmarillion to know if any of the Seven Sons, like, forsake the vow. Or just like, I am so done with this bullshit.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
Oh, are we going to keep reading after Baron and Luthien? I mean, we can.
Well,
we could have just.
Feanor's dead, and he's my least favorite, so we could give it a try.
We could give it a try. Just read on from here.
Yeah.
Of the fifth battle. Oh, of Turin Turambar. We might want to skip Turin Turambar.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about
gets
Turin.
His sister pregnant. I don't want that.
Yep.
The ruin of Doriath. Actually, we might want to stop, because the fall of Gondolin. It's all very depressing.
That does sound very depressing.
The voyage of Earendil. Ooh, we might skip to the voyage of Earendil.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, I have, 3/4 of this piece of leather all ready to go, so that's great. And my groceries are about to be delivered, so I'll go
Yay!
deal with that.
Sounds good. I love you. I've
Yay,
missed
love you
this. We'll
too.
see you next week.
Same. See you next week.
Cuidado.
Yamas.